Some guy in the future will say, "I never asked for this," if the problem of DRM isn't solved. If you don't know what it is, the official definition is protecting intellectual property to prevent it from being freely distributed. In other words, it's to stop people from stealing it. Though I prefer thinking of it as stuff that annoys people who buy the product, but tends to be taken out of the illegal version so pirates actually get a better experience. DRM, in its most basic form, is flawed. Why would we want a company to ruin the games that we play with protection? It's patronising to the extreme. Thank you for buying our product, now put up with this stuff that pirates don't have to tolerate. Probably the most basic and amusing form of protection would be to ask people nicely not to copy their stuff. But as if anybody's naive enough to do that. Apart from Microsoft. And every movie ever. The most frustrating thing? People who pirate these things don't have to put up with it. I'm not stupid enough to think that removing DRM completely will solve the problem. It won't. Some people may buy it in good faith since the legal version isn't mutilated by stupid systems, but people will no doubt steal it regardless. Sims 3, for example. I've been screwed over in the past by stupid protection systems. My legitimate copy of Sony Vegas stopped working because I had installed it too many times. Well, sorry if I want to reformat every couple of weeks. I'm sure that pirates don't get accused of piracy by the programs that they're using. I still hate how Windows installations track your hardware changes. I've had a history of RAM dunking and I'll go berserk if my watery antics get my account banned. The jump from physical to downloadable content has certainly scared publishers who have perhaps overcompensated with stupid protection systems. I mean, you're now trying to get people to download games for money when there's a site that lets you do it for free just next door. I guess that you could also chase after the people who pirate games, setting an example by fining people thousands and saying how it's just as bad as stealing something from a shop. It's not the same. You're copying something rather than stealing the original and are far more likely to have the company after you than the police, which is probably far more dangerous since those corporations have more power than the government if that guy from the future is to be believed. It's not right, but please don't use stupid arguments to make it sound wrong. Use clever ones instead. On the other hand, I hate people who justify piracy for equally stupid reasons. Let me just give one huge argument against piracy which should cover all bases. There's no such thing as a bad product, only a bad price. If it really isn't worth buying to you, then why aren't you going out and spending money on things that are worth buying, rather than wasting your time watching things that you don't consider worthwhile? You rely on others doing the right thing to sustain the developers of the media that you enjoy, so instead of insulting and ridiculing those people who do pay for things, you should be thankful to them. If you really want to pirate things, just say that you're pirating it rather than giving some half-hearted justification. But at the end of the day, there's nothing I can say that will get you to change your mind because you can get away with it for free and don't care. But please, kill yourself. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, downloadable media. Well, there are two ways they can go. The first is to use extreme DRM methods that disable CD writing devices, spy on you constantly, and destroy your computer with difficult to remove spyware. Of course, this can all be disabled in illegal versions of the programs. The only people it really punishes are the good guys in life and those who are too computer illiterate to torrent stuff. The second method is to make DRM something you actually want. Something that adds to the gaming experience. Madness, you might cry. Look at your PC. I bet you've already got it there, staring you dead in the face. I'll just say it. Steam. Yep, it's something that's constantly in operation when you're playing the games. It protects the game, but in a new and exciting way, by rewarding people who have bought the game. It adds achievements. It throws in awesome multiplayer elements that pirates tend to be locked out from. It's such a perfect system that people will actively go out of their way to get their games on Steam than in any other way. It's a brilliant solution to the problem. If you want the game, you have to download it through Steam. Get an illegal version and it will be outdated and cut off from the rest of the world. But it's going to go even further via game streaming. At the moment, your games are stored on your system, but once they're streamed from a server somewhere, the only way of playing it will be to access those servers and to pay for the privilege, since you're no longer given anything more than what is essentially an interactive movie of the game that you've bought. This will open up new and annoying opportunities like renting games, if not from the developers themselves, then from third parties who buy several copies of the game and then let others use them. The whole thing's going to get super messy and I only wish I had the expertise to cash in on it. So what happens when the whole system goes down in a fiery apocalyptic scenario sometime in the not too distant future? Well, I'm sure they've already sussed that out and have plans to let us, the customers, keep our games in case of such an event. Ha, yeah, right. The fight against DRM has begun. Spore, a potentially successful game, was rightly strangled at birth, partly because of its DRM systems. And partly because it wasn't that fun to play, but that didn't stop the Sims expansion packs from doing so well. More recently, the Xbox One did a 180 on their always-on DRM policies following public outcry. Wow, our moans and groans actually did something! Other games, once they reach a certain age, get a patch to remove the DRM. Operation Flashpoint no longer requires a disc, The Witcher 2 has been patched to remove security features. Now if GTA 5 can be launched for PC without the user having to log into 3 different programs before playing the game, then I'll be happy. I like the new movie system where they give you several different copies of the video. Personally, I can't be bothered to waddle across the room and insert a new disc into the player. I'd much rather double click on a file in a folder and flick through the movies to the good bits, irritating everybody else who's watching. In conclusion, I think that the worst is over. Maybe I'm being naive, but it looks as though consumers have hailed Steam as their DRM system of choice thanks to the flexibility it offers, and developers will have to be stubborn, wrong and stupid to take a backward step in the ever-increasingly hated world of DRM. Maybe that guy in the future will have to change his quota after all. And cut.